Now we are on to reports from the town manager. Thank you, Mr. McGovern.
Thank you, Mayor. I've distributed copies of my report this evening. It's somewhat lengthy because it's been a little while since we last held a regular meeting. I promise, though, I'm not going to read it verbatim. So starting off with council business, I will hit all of these items. Council subcommittees. Due to various conflicts that folks have, we've had to reschedule a few of our subcommittee meetings. Community Planning and Physical Services Committee will now meet at 8 a.m. on September 20th. Our main agenda item will be talking about parking rates in the center. The Finance and Budget Committee is scheduled for 8 a.m. on September 25th. The main agenda item will be the current year budget and where we are with the state. We're looking to reschedule the Public Safety Committee. We really think it's important to have the fire chief there, and he has a FEMA deployment this month. We're looking to schedule it for the morning of September 27th or the morning of September 28th. I believe Ms. Stevenson polled committee members today. We want to continue our discussion on various aspects of the paramedic program. That would include an updated financial analysis, a grant that we've been awarded and we need to make a decision on for a transport vehicle, and the write-off policy for billing purposes. So all of those items are under discussion. In addition, I'd like to schedule one more meeting for the Administration and Technology Committee, as well as the Human Services Committee, prior to the end of your current term. So please watch your email for proposed dates for those two committees. Moving on to talk about the budget for the current year. I think as everyone knows, and we've been sending you updates via email, the General Assembly continues to work on adopting a state budget for the current year. This past Friday, the governor issued what he labeled as a compromise budget, and that would have cut state aid. It would have been less of a cut to West Hartford, especially compared to his Executive Order number 2, and scale back his proposed contribution to the Teachers Retirement Board, the TRB, for a net loss of approximately $10.6 million to the town. And that compares to a net reduction of approximately $20 million under Executive Order number 2. However, it's unclear that the governor's most recent proposal, whether or not it has significant support at the General Assembly. We've heard that it probably does not. While all this has been happening, the Director of Finance and I, we've met with each of the town's directors to review 5% and 10% reduction scenarios on expenditures. October 1st is a very significant date, as you may know. That's when the town would receive its first quarterly payment for the education cost sharing grant. That is the most significant grant we receive. The same holds true for virtually every town in the state. So if we do not see a state budget within the next few weeks, the Director of Finance and I will present you through the Finance and Budget Committee to start with a list of options to adjust to decrease current year spending. And we'll also likely recommend the strategic use of reserves. We can also discuss the status of motor vehicle tax bills at that time. You know, we have yet to issue those bills with the thinking that you know, the mill rate might be increased from 32 to 37 mills. So we'll continue to keep you apprised of what's happening at the state level. But if nothing occurs, you know, within the near future, we're going to have a list of recommendations for you, and some of them will be significant and will require due thought and consideration, and I'm sure you'll give that to those items. Moving on, as you may recall, during the recruitment process, I talked about my interest in serving on the board of my professional organization. That's the International City and County Management Association. I've now been elected by my colleagues, and I'll begin a 3-year term It will start at our annual conference, which is scheduled for October 21st, runs through the 25th. I'll be one of 3 representatives for the Northeast region. That includes New England and the Middle Atlantic states, and one of 21 directors representing about 12,000 people worldwide. The commitment does involve some travel. Fortunately, ICMA covers the bulk of that, and we'll be very careful to manage the budget here. So I'm very honored by the opportunity to serve Connecticut because we're a small state. We haven't had a representative since the early 2000s. Phil Schenk, who was then the manager in Avon, now the manager in Bloomfield, last had that honor. And I think the experience will certainly benefit me and strengthen my skill set, which will benefit the town as well. But I will be away during your second meeting in October, as the mayor reported early on. And I think it's vitally important that I'm in attendance at the public hearings concerning the incentive zoning as well as the experiential zoning ordinances, which is why I requested that the mayor, that we open the public hearing on October 24th, but really get into the meat of the discussion on November 14th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a big honor. Thank you. A few things related to the MDC, a hot topic here in the Capital Region I've discovered. So yesterday, the Director of Finance and I, we attended a meeting of the MDC's Public Works Committee. You know, they have standing committees like we do here. The main agenda item concerned a change, to the sewer use charge for certain municipal buildings. And according to their analysis, and this was an analysis they conducted on the current year, our ad valorem payment would decrease as a result of this change. So that's something we can hopefully look forward to in the future. Mr. Privatera and I were also tracking the progress of the sewer use charge study that MDC has underway. The request for qualification should be released within a few weeks. Submissions will be due later in the fall. The consultant will have about 4 to 6 months to complete that work. In addition, we're monitoring Moody's recent downgrade of the MDC's bond rating. It certainly could have an impact. We expect it will have a negative impact. We're not sure of the magnitude on the ad valorem tax to the member communities. We are attending their annual budget presentation on September 21st, and we're going to seek some clarification as to the magnitude of this change, how it might impact us. The MDC, for folks who don't know, and this was news to me, their fiscal year runs on a calendar year basis. It's different from the state's uniform fiscal year of July 1 through June 30th. So those are a number of issues related to the MDC. Moving on to departmental reports, we had an agenda item earlier related to Park Road I-84 project. We're going to hold a public information meeting on Monday, September 18th at 7 p.m. at Town Hall. This has been posted on our website. It should be informative for residents. We've dedicated a portion of our website to this project and would encourage folks to follow along there. Moving on to page 3, and you can review the rest of the report at your leisure. Social services, I want to commend our staff and the generosity of our community. The annual backpack distribution program was very successful. Our social services staff, it allows us to distribute backpacks and gift cards. For school supplies, last year we were able to serve 651 students. This year we were able to serve 688. And we still have supplies available for folks in need. Moving on to the health district, believe it or not, flu season is here, or will be here soon. And our regional health district is holding its annual flu immunization clinics. They'll be held both in West Hartford and in Bloomfield. The West Hartford clinics will be held on Wednesday, October 18th from 12 to 2 p.m. at Town Hall, and on Wednesday the 25th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon at our Elmwood Community Center. Next item, this coming Friday, Leisure Services and Westmore Park will hold its annual and what I understand very popular Feast on the Farm event, and that will be held from 6 to 9 p.m. at the farm, and the proceeds from the event will assist in funding the restoration of the historic barn. It's a BYOB dinner. There'll be hors d'oeuvres, a 4-course meal. I understand the chef is quite talented. Tickets are $100 per person. They're available at the park or at Leisure Services here at Town Hall. Moving on to page 4, Town Clerk's Office wanted to credit Ms. LeBreau and the office. We can now accept credit and debit card payments for a whole variety of services at the Town Clerk's Office. You know, that's a great convenience for our residents and taxpayers. 3 other items under Public Works that I think historically are of interest to the community. First is a couple free residential electronics recycling collection events that will take place on Thursdays and Saturdays this month in Town Hall, and you see the dates listed. Thursday 4 to 7 p.m. and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon. The MDC will conduct its annual hazardous waste collection at our Public Works facility on Brixton Street, and that will be held Saturday, September 16th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And folks who have a question about what will be collected, we're encouraging them to check out the MDC website. Fall leaf collection will be occurring next month. It's a 10-week collection. It will begin during the week of October 23rd and continue through December 29th. Brief report from the police, and I know council's been paying attention to this. We have had quite a rash of car burglaries in town since June. And the primary reason is that, unfortunately, folks are leaving cars unlocked, and in many cases with the keys in the vehicle. So please, please, please do not do that. You know, if you can follow those primary steps, we should be able to improve this in a significant way. And then last, turning on to page 5, and the mayor has the remaining items of the report. You know, I hear all the time what's cool about local government. So our Connecticut Conference of Municipalities has an awards program for middle school and high school students. It's an opportunity for them to talk about what they think is neat and happening in their local government and in their town. CCM will choose 2 winning entries and provide a $500 scholarship. The deadline for entries is on October 27th, and we have information on our website regarding this program. That completes my report, Mayor. I know it was somewhat, oh, I'm sorry, I do have a few additional items. I apologize. I have a few additional items that I didn't write up. Like all of you, I was able to attend the Delamar Hotel opening earlier tonight. Great success, what an addition to the town. I want to thank Mr. Mallory and the members of his team for their great work. Town staff was very involved in the project, as you know. In particular, my predecessor, Mr. Van Winkle, and want to certainly acknowledge their efforts. We will need an executive session this evening to talk about the Yukon project, and we should invite Mr. McGovern, Mr. Allaire, and me to that session. And then last but not least, I want to extend my thanks to the staff, the council, and the members of the community. My continued introduction to the organization and to the town has been great. Folks have been very positive and very helpful, and I greatly appreciate it. So now I will pause, Mayor, and take any questions council members may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Members, anybody from the council that would like to ask a question? No, okay. All right, very good. Are your kids going to enter the local government contest?
I'm working on it.
All right, I think that's unfair.